Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. This is my September wrap up. I've got my little coffee cup and I'm in a different place. I'm in my uni room now because I'm back at uni. I only read 7 books in September, which amounted to 1,056 pages and 28.72 hours of audiobook listening. It's my lowest month so far, but I was kind of expecting that I didn't read anything after like the 22nd, and I haven't really not read anything now, and it's the 9th of October, so that's like near enough like 2.5-ish weeks of like nothing basically. But I was kind of expecting that for this time of the year. I do want to get back into my reading, but I just wanted to complete most of my goals. Well, my big one, I've read 100 books before coming back to uni, which I have done, so yay. But anyway, I just thought I would quickly go through the 7 books I read in September and just wrapping them up. It's going to be quite quick. I did do a whole reading review and show review of A Good Guy's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, which is the first book I read, which you can check up there if you so desire. But yeah, I think I gave it probably about 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed the book. I felt like Holly Jackson just like showed this story and the uncovering of the investigation. It's following Pippa, and she's doing her EPQ on the disappearance, of like a high school girl, Andy Bell, a couple of years ago, and everyone suspected that her boyfriend killed her and then killed himself, Salil Singh, but she doesn't think that, so she wants to do her own investigation, and it's basically just the uncovering of this. And yeah, I felt like it was really like pulls you through. It was quite a bit of a chunky book, but it's great and refreshing to have a main character that is, you know, smart, and you'll sort of uncover things at the same time as her, or just a little bit after instead of like before, and then you're waiting for them to catch up. And it was just put together, done really well, and I would recommend this book. It was like interesting. I'm thirsty, I've got a bit of a sore throat, you know, fast paced, had a lot to it, and I enjoyed it, so I would recommend. And then just recently I released a video on like reading which adjacent books and my thoughts on them, so I'm not going to go too much detail because they're all in that video anyway, but I read A Kind of Spark Out by Elle McNoll, and this was a really good book. It's following an autistic main character, Addie, and she in her class is trying to like look over the like witch trials of Juniper, and how these women were othered and like made to confess because they didn't really know what was going on, and she's also being bullied current in the time frame, and about sort of like the microaggressions and things people say to autistic people, and just like undercovering someone that lives that experience. And yeah, I would so recommend this, and I really want to get to the prequel Kidi soon, who is Addie's older sister, and yeah, I would really recommend this book. Then I read Bright I Burn by Molly Aitken, and this is the story of the first woman in Ireland to be accused of a witch, Alice Kilkenny, I believe, and how she was like a rich, powerful woman in this man's world, and the way that like people sort of like viewed her and caught on to like her like being, you know, different in a way, and also having lots of husbands and sort of like what might be going on, and just like how they turned on her for like no real reason. It was fine. I didn't really enjoy that character, but after reading a later book, it sort of clicked in my mind that like still something horrible happened to her, and just purely because she was a woman in this time, and it doesn't really matter that she wasn't, you know, the best of persons, but it's still a huge injustice. But yeah, I'd recommend this. I think I'd probably give it about 3 stars, and Kind of Spark 4.5 as well. Then I read The Pachinko Parlor by Elisa Shardusapin. She's translated from French by Anissa Abbas Higgins. I really enjoyed this book, probably the same, about 4 stars as I gave her other book, A Winter in Chokcho, earlier the year. It's just like a very slim, enjoyable, calming read that doesn't really take that long, and it's just like fun. It's basically following this woman that's going just like back in Japan, teaching English or French to like a student, and she sort of like starts like a friendship with her, and she's also with her like Korean parents and grandparents, and they own a pachinko parlor, and about sort of like the generational trauma of the Korean invasion of Japan and ownership, and like move into Japan to like flee the country, and sort of like thinking about going back, and yeah, a lot is sort of like just like covered in the book, but it's not like majorly so. I found it very like calming, and I just love the way she writes. It's so like sparse but like interesting, and yeah, I would love to read more by her. Then get back to the witchy books. I read Witch by Rebecca Tamas. Is a poetry collection. I gave it probably about a 2-star. I didn't really like this. I felt like a lot of it was very incomprehensible to me, and like maybe I need to be more well versed in poetry to understand things, but it just was confusing, and yeah, I didn't really get anything from it. But it's sort of different poems. Some are like spells for so and so, and other ones are like witch as something. I think like Witch as Europe and Witch as something else were the best ones, and they sort of chronicle like a witch from like the trial times up until modern day, and about like different like issues and things like that. So yeah, so like, I feel like if you can understand it, it'd probably be quite good and you can get a lot from it, but it was quite confusing, not for like an early poetry read, I would say. Penultimately, I read The Last Wish of Scotland by Philip Paris, and this is about the lives of Ayla and Janet, I believe, who were the last people to be accused of witchcraft in Scotland and the whole of the UK. And Ayla is disfigured by being burnt when she's younger, and they move to a small Highland town, and Janet is experiencing early onset dementia probably, and most people in the town are fine with them, but then this temporary like reverend comes and thinks of them as different and others them, and makes them seem out to be these weird people, and eventually accuses them of being witches. And it's like the trial scene and things like that, and also this travelling group of like entertainers have come from Edinburgh after fleeing like a crime, and for the first time in many years, Ayla and Janet are feeling happiness and friendship and love with specifically Jack, but other members of this group as well, and it's just so beautiful to see that. But then the trial and everything happens, and that's what I'm going to say, but this book just really impacted me so much, and like I really listened to it in the bath, and then I came out and I was literally crying for like a solid like maybe like 10-15 minutes. I was just so upset because they were just such lovely people, and for this to happen to them just because they were women and different and othered in this time, and it's just, yeah, just very emotional, and I feel like just a lot was going on at the same time. So yeah, I'm probably going to give this the full 5 stars, and I would so recommend it. I would love to read more by him, and more sort of like books like this, because they would just really hit me hard a lot. So yeah. And then finally, I finished off with Bone by Yasir Daly Ward. This is a poetry collection. Last year I read her like poetry memoir, The Terrible, and this sort of follows similar themes about like mental illness and growing up, being a black bi woman, and in things with her childhood, and like lots of different things it covers. I read it in like 2 days, but I've sort of forgot some parts of it because I wanted to read it before I went away, and I was like underlining things and stuff, but I didn't bring it up with me, so I can't like fully look at the bits that I wanted to remember exactly. But I do know it did have like very like well penned parts, and it was just done very, very well and enjoyable, and also like some hard hitting things and that are like, you know, some trigger warning topics as well. But yeah, the sun's like coming through and it's like looking a bit weird, I feel. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm probably going to give that maybe a 4.5 or 4.75 star rating. Would certainly recommend it, and I do really want to read more by Yasser Lily Ward. So yeah, that was also one of my 24 of 2024, so I'm happy I got another one off that list. And I don't know how many more I'm going to read by the end of the year, but we shall just see. Anyway, I shall say bye for now, and I don't know when I'll be back with you because I'm so behind on videos, but anyways, have a nice morning, even night wherever you are in the world, and I shall see you very soon. Bye!